Good morning, students. Moving on to the next part of our lecture in the professional practice laws and ethics. So, in the previous lecture, we have covered about the professional practices, different respective roles of the various stakeholders, just like the professional responsibilities, government, standardization bodies, the IRC codal provisions, or related to that, the client, the role of client. So basically, in the first, that is a professional practice, when we talk about the professional responsibility, so we are mostly talking about the ethics or morals. But in engineers, the standards are basically enriched in codes, and these codes can be broad classification of the principle or similar to the engineering ethical code also. For example, the building code. So they may be extremely precise and perspective. Many engineering standards, whether they are explicitly expressed or which are not recognized in terms of engineers, so the established practice should be there. So basically, afterwards, the next module or in that section, the topic related to is the developers, that is the role governed by the regulations of RERA. So RERA is a vital part there. RERA means the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, or it is basically for the regulation and development. It is also called as the RERD also. Basically, in the RERA, the role here is the developers. So, whose role are governed by the regulations, means the RERA, that is the Real Estate Regulatory Authority. So, they play a vital role in the real estate industry. So, as a civil engineer, we also know that our job futuristic aspects is related to the real estate industry also, the role of the contractors or in the construction related work. So, in the real estate industry, these professionals are responsible for planning, execution, and management of the real estate projects, which ensure compliance with the regulatory framework or the codal provision to protect the interest of both the developer and the property buyer. So, as a whole, these are the overall considerations that needs to be means for the process of in the process of RERA. These are the various steps that we will also cover later on. So basically, the RERA, that regulations, they guide and govern the various aspects of the development process, which includes these development processes like the project timelines, the financial transparency, then the reduction in the litigation, increased FDI, customer management, timely completion of the project, and the quality standards. So the developers operating under such regulations contribute to a more transparent and accountable real estate sector, fostering even truth and confidence among the stakeholders. Because whenever we purchase or buy anything, so there from the real estate, there are many litigations or frauds can be there. So whenever we move on for a bank loan or like that, so then we can get to know that the property is having some litigations or it has some previous cases, the documentations are not proper. So for regulating these things, that there is authority which monitor the real estate business. So here in the based on that, the first is the registration. Means registration, you have to the first the builder, they have to do the registration. Then in this the developers has to give the provide the project details, as well as they have to maintain the fair practices there. So that I'm talking about the RERA. It was first that act that was passed in the 10th March of 2016 and by the Lok Sabha on 15th March of 16, and it came into force from the 1st May of 2016 with 19 to 69 to 92 sections notified there. So the central government as well as the state government, they are liable to notify the rules under the act within a statutory period for 6 months. And even it is applicable to whole of India, but except as per that rule, Jammu and Kashmir. Whereas the real estate regulatory authority is the governing authority, and even there are certain penalties also while doing so, means violation of that processes. So, based on the key objectives, that what are the major motives there? So, to protect the home buyers, the RERA, that is the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, they safeguard the home buyers from unfair practices like delay in the project completion, misleading advertisement, diversion of funds, because that RERA imposes a set of rules and guidelines that developers must follow, ensuring the transparency, accountability, and the fair practices within the real estate sector. So, developers under the purview of RERA are required to register their projects with the regulatory authority and provide comprehensive details about the project, its timelines, its financial aspects, everything. And these regulations not only safeguards that I have told the interest of home buyers, but also instills confidence in the market by promoting ethical conduct and professionalism among the developers, because everything depends on the timely completion, because their market reputation relies on these things, the how transparent they are, how timely completing their projects. And that RERA also establishes a robust dispute resolution mechanism through the RERA authorities in the state as well as the tribunals. So, this basically provides a faster and more efficient way to address the buyer grievances. And consequently, the developers, they are the key stakeholders in the real estate industry, are not accountable to their clients but also to the regulatory authorities also, contributing to the overall integrity and sustainable growth of the real estate sector. So, for the process of registration, so there are certain impact also, and that are limitations in the RERA. Impact means, as I have earlier told, it increase the transparency, accountability, improve the confidence, and whereas for the limitation status, the implications varies across states, means sometimes it leads to the inconsistency in the enforcement, that limitations, then lack of adequate resources also and manpower in some RERA authorities there, and complexities in dispute resolution process in some cases have also been noticed. So what is the process of registration under this? So the first process includes the developer's submission, means they have to submit an application, means the initiation of the registration process, it requires the developer to submit a comprehensive application to the relevant RERA authority, typically at the state or union level. Then there are some forms and document, means the application developers must have to furnish a prescribed form there along with the essential documents. And these documents mostly include project specifics, legal title deeds, current land status, detailed layout plans, necessary approvals, and comprehensive financial details also. So then the application whatever have been submitted, so they are under the stage of scrutiny. So there the RERA authority is there. So there, for that authority, the submitted application that undergoes a meticulous scrutiny process by the RERA authority, and this involves a thorough examination of the details and the documents provided to ensure strict adherence to the regulations. So for this, there are deficiency notes also there, that in this the deficiencies or any discrepancies are identified during the scrutiny process. The developer is served a notice, and this notice mainly outlines the specific issues that need rectification within a stipulated time frame. Then the next part is the project approval. So in the project approval, the certification of registration is there and public disclosure. So under the certification of registration, upon successful scrutiny and rectification of the any identified issues, the RERA authority issues a certificate of registration for the project. And this certificate signifies the compliance with RERA regulations and is accompanied by a unique project registration number. Then there is a public disclosure, that is to maintain basically the transparency. The developer is mandated to publicly disclose project details, including the assigned registration number and other informations. Then there is the ongoing, the compliance. So for the compliance, the developers are required to provide regular updates on the RERA website, ensuring the project status, financial details, and any modifications to the original plan are they are promptly communicated to the public or not, while maintaining the timeline also, because a crucial aspect of the ongoing compliance is the developer's commitment to completing the project within the agreed upon timeline as specified during the registration process. And finally, there are certain consequences of non-compliance to the above parameters. Like there are penalties there, means non-compliance with the RERA regulations. This can result in severe penalties, which include monetary fines, and in extreme cases, it can be also imprisonment. Then the revocation of registration also, like in cases of the severe non-compliance, the RERA authority has the authority to revoke the project registration also, and this action acts as a stringent measure to uphold the integrity of RERA framework and protect the interest of home buyers. In essence, the project registration process under RERA is a comprehensive mechanism which aimed at fostering the accountability, transparency, and timely completion of real estate projects. So overall, based on the RERA authority, you can get an idea that how it works and what are the parameters which are considered during the RERA process. That is the real estate regulatory authority. Then comes the role of the consultants or the Consulting Engineering Association of India, that is CEAI. So the CEAI basically they provide a certain means norms, like first I would say that the Consulting Engineering Association that was established in the year of 1956, which is headquartered in New Delhi. It serves as a non-profit organization and a collective platform for consulting engineers who aim to promote their professional interests. So basically, what are the objectives mentioned there? That is the advocacy or representation. So the CEAI, the Consulting Engineering Association of India, they acts as an advocate for the interest of consulting engineers and represent them at various forums, both nationally as well as internationally. And they also, for their professional development, the association is committed to the professional development of its members by organizing certain seminars, workshop, training program, and it aims to keep its members updated on the latest development in engineering practices and technology. Then comes the ethical standards. So the CEAI that endeavors to maintain high ethical standards within the consulting engineering profession, even it establishes code of conduct to guide its member in the professional endeavors. Then comes the networking opportunities. So the networking opportunity means the association provides a platform for consulting engineers to network and collaborate. So basically this includes the interaction with the industry experts, the policymakers, and other stakeholders. So for obtaining these objectives there, these are the basically objectives, the role which comes under the CEAI association. So then for their activities or what are the initiatives they are taking, like earlier I have discussed the organization of seminar conferences, then training and capacity building also, because this association focuses on enhancing the skills and capacity of the members. So how they are achieved? So this is achieved through workshop, training program, partnership with any educational institution also. Like few days ago, one consulting firm or is there in Ranchi. So they have given us our college the opportunity for this from the civil engineering department to teach them some basics or in detail about certain the experimental processes or basically the course curriculum, because we have to prepare additional course for the workers who are working there in the industry. So in the concrete technology as well as in the highway transportation sector, so we have to prepare another syllabus for them, and they will come and get an idea about various topics. So certain collaborations are always there with the educational institution as well as the industries. Then comes the publication of journals also. So CEI, it may publish journals or newsletters offering insights into the industry trends, technological advancement, and best practices in consulting engineering. So with that consulting processes, so the collaboration also exists there. And finally, there is a membership. So membership in CEI is typically open to the consulting engineering firms, professionals. Then the members may include both individual and consulting engineers and consulting engineering companies also. So after that RERA, the another important part is the CEAI. Then moving on to the role of contractors. So the role of the contractors which are governed by the regulatory acts as well as based on the standards. So following these standards, so the first is the say every the whenever we talk about the role of contractors, it is basically the project execution part. So that project execution, we all know that whatever whenever the contractors are there, so they have to execute certain projects. So while executing these projects, so the contractors are responsible for executing construction works based on the specifications provided in the contract, and this involves various tasks such as site preparation, material procurement, construction, project management. Then this execution have to be complied with the contract. Means contractors must follow to the terms and conditions outlined in the construction contract. And this include meeting the project milestone, delivering work within the specified timelines, and maintaining a quality construction work, because the budget management is also there. So the contractors are typically tasked with the managing the project budget, because not only it is to achieve the project milestone, but they have to also adhere to the project budget. This involves the cost estimation, financial planning, and ensuring that project is completed within the allocated budget. So the bidding and contract acceptance are also a part of that. And whenever following with the compliance with the regulatory act, the contractors must follow these standards, because there are quality assurance, there are safety regulations. So whenever the quality assurance comes, so the contractors are accountable for the quality of work delivered, because after pass out you will mostly get to any construction site or there, so there is a quality control engineer also. So the role of quality control engineer is very vital, because they must adhere to the industry standards and the specifications to ensure that constructed facilities meet the required quality benchmark, because you have to also follow the safety regulations also. Safety is a very important aspect for construction project, because contractors are responsible for implementing safety measures to project workers, the site visitors, and the public. Likewise, whenever you go to a construction site for your training, so there also the safety aspect is very important, because compliance with the safety regulations is very essential to prevent accident or any injuries during the construction process. So then, apart from that, there are other parts also: the project planning, execution, risk management, contractual obligations, client communication, subcontractor management, safety and environment compliance. So, whenever we discuss about these things, basically the project planning and execution in that part, so the communication and coordination is very important. Means effective communication and coordination with the various stakeholders, including the client, architect, engineers, the regulatory authorities. They are the key responsibilities of the contractors. and this ensure that everyone involved in the project is on the same page regarding project progress and requirement. So the risk management is there. Under the risk management, the contractors assess and manage risks associated with the construction project, including basically identifying the potential challenges, implementing risk mitigation strategies to navigate the unforeseen circumstances, to keep the project on track. And for this, the regulatory framework are there, because the construction contracts are made in such a way that the contractor's role is defined clearly in the terms and conditions in the construction contract, and this legal document establishes the obligations, responsibilities, and rights of both the client and contractor. So basically, following these things, the building codes and standards, the safety and health regulations, even there are environmental regulations also. So the environmental compliance is very very important, because any construction projects are subjected to environmental regulations to mitigate their impact on the environment, because they have to follow certain guidelines related to the waste disposal, pollution control, sustainable construction practices. And under these categories, then there are many jurisdictions come which require the contractors to obtain the necessary license to operate legally. And one another important aspect is the labor laws under this contractor clause there, because contractors must comply with the labor laws governing to the employment practices, their wages, working hours, and fair treatment of workers, and adherence to the labor regulations contribute to the means overall construction success. So the managing the labor is also a vital part there, because some regions have specific regulations governing the construction industry, and these regulations addresses various issues like the construction permit, inspection, all over industry practices. So these are overall on a broad aspect the role of the contractors and what they have to follow. Then the last part, that is the role of manufacturer, vendor, and the service agencies. So based on the manufacturer, so what is the manufacturer? So manufacturer are responsible for producing good, ensuring quality control, and meeting the industry standards whatever they are providing. So this include basically the chain management also, means they manage the supply chain from raw material procurement to the distribution to ensure a proper flow of product, because timely product is coming to the construction site. There should not be delay in the work because of the supply chain management. So for this, various manufacturers contribute to the industry advancement also, or sometimes some innovations are also being mentioned there. So these are the role of manufacturers. Whereas the role of vendor basically supply goods and services to the business and end users, which manage the procurement and delivery process efficiently. So the vendor are responsible for the customer relationship, because building and maintaining a positive relationship with the customer is very important for the vendors to secure repeat business or referrals. And after sales support means the vendors provide the material but don't have a proper communication there for the after sales support provision. So the vendors, they often provide after sales support, but including maintenance, repair, and customer assistance. Sometimes some companies fail there, so there should be some certain service agencies are there additionally which work on that factors. So based on this, the quality assurance is properly maintained there. And whenever we discuss about the manufacturers part there, so the role of say manufacturer, vendor, or service agencies, so there are contractual agreement also with them to maintain the quality assurance. And that I have told that there are third parties sometimes also for the testing and certifications also for the quality standard. Like if a construction is going on a site, so they have their individual laboratory. Additionally, they supply the material to the nearby institute to check the material properties and give a additional compliance report. So this is called as a consultancy work also. So in the which in our institute we are also doing, you have seen that various consultancies works we are also doing. So there the companies provide another report from us. There are specialized services also there. Likewise for the vendors, there are certain training and education program also made, because they made the training programs for the educational resources to the client to ensure optimal use of their services. Then there are certain regulatory framework there which involved, because for the contractual agreement the supply contracts are there. Means the manufacturer and vendor, they enter into the supply contract with clear terms and regarding project specification, delivery schedule and payment terms. Then there are service agencies also which engage in the service agreement that outline the scope of service, service level, and contractual obligations. Moreover, the manufacturers all must adhere to the industry standards for product quality, safety, and performance. So, based on these services, the role which are allotted to them, so there are consumer protection laws also, means fair practices, because all the entities are subject to consumer protection laws that require fair business practices, transparency, communication, and protection of consumer rights. Because the warranty and guarantee is also there. Means manufacturer and vendors, they must comply with the laws related to the warranties and guarantees to protect consumer against faulty product or services. So for this, the intellectual property law, that is another part. Means manufacturer may need to adhere to the intellectual property law which secure the patents or trademarks for their certain product, and even copyright also. Like the service agencies, they need to protect their intellectual property through the copyright laws, especially for the proprietary software or any methodologies they are using. And there are eco-friendly practices also there in the construction site we are seeing. Like the manufacturers, they are often required to follow the environmental regulations, then compliance with the waste disposal regulations, and the worker safety, the product safety is there, and global compliance. So basically as a whole, the manufacturer, vendor, and service agencies are operating internationally also, and they must comply with the global standards to ensure consistency in the quality and performance. So in this chapter, mostly we have discussed about the professional practices. So what are the various aspects of professional practices? What are the different sectors? In the previous classes, we have talked about the stakeholders mostly, but now we have talked mostly about the manufacturers, vendors, the RERA, the CDI. So these are all the agencies there. So basically, the professionalism is a vital there, and as I have told that whenever you are defining any professionalism, it means which encompasses all the aspects of certain professional practices. Because professionalism, it is the habit of doing correct thing despite of one's feeling rather than because of them. So professionals, they make, means they'll make living out of the specific type of activities and behavior. So like one Aristotle also defined certain virtues in his terms as learned habits that enabled us to engage effectively in logical activities, which defines us as human beings. So basically, everything is about the ethics and the professional practices. So, like in the previous class, I have told one story, because regarding that ethics, practices, our story regarding that Mahabharata is a very important setter, example setter there. Many stories are there which correlate with certain aspects. Like we are talking about that one professional practice, if I would say that in the professional practice, like Arjun, so he was facing a moral dilemma on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and seeks guidance from the Lord Krishna. So basically, the discourse that is in the Bhagavad Gita, that is explores the ethical aspects of war, duty, and rightness. So Lord Krishna is giving Arjun about the dilemma that watch the battlefield. There are your family members are there, your friends are there. You have to do war against them. So your vision should be clear in that aspect. So ethically, if I would say that the Gita addresses the principles of the rightness conduct, the dharma, and the moral responsibility of the individuals in upholding justice, even in the face of conflict. So that should be the actual aspect for the professionalism. So in the next class, we will start on the professional ethics on the topic.